Hello everyone, and welcome.
If you should awaken, I will be there when you wake from your lovely
Welcome back to another episode of the Soul and the Body Show. I am your host, CURT WILLIAMS. Now, I'd like to pick up a little bit where we left off the last time with our meditation exercise. One thing I was not able to explain fully because of the shortness of the episode was the healing part of this. What that is simply is you give your body a diagnostic to find out whatever's wrong in whatever area. Even if you have to go to the doctor to find this out. What you're doing then is when you're meditating, when you're running your energy, once you're finished, you want to look through your body and find out what parts you're having a problem with. Then you want to focus on presenting a blue light into that area, about the same color as my hand. But you have to be realistic. If you have an organ, for instance, that's not well, don't just think you can flash blue at it and it will be okay. No, you have to recognize it in the state that it is in. Think of it as something being dark and dank and not very healthy. What you want to do, in fact, is bring this healing blue light into this area gradually. You're not being realistic if all of a sudden you see something beautiful. I was very good at this when I was younger, and when I stopped doing all this for a while, it became much harder. Right now, it's not as easy as it used to be. I could just visualize a blue light and there it was. And now I almost have to look at something blue first before I can see it. Eventually it will come back. Now, I've come to understand that it is the belief that only 5% of the world's population are true spiritualists like myself. Meaning that we are connected in such a way that we understand that the main part of us is our spirit. Now that figure is so low, so minuscule that I know for a fact that because of the way I achieved it, everybody can. Some people don't believe in spirituality at all. Any one of you who has experienced a little deja vu thing or a little voice inside or any kind of indication of intuition, that is your spirit trying to communicate with you. Everything has a spirit. When in the beginning of the book, we described the Creator as appearing as just a light in a dark void. A lot of people are going to ask, Kurt, well, where did the light come from? Well, I explained that in chapter 70. In the tradition of authors, we have to wait for the dramatic ending. In chapter 70 will tell you where that came from. However, remember when we described the ethereal realm that he created first, and there were angels, and then he created Mother Nature. The way this creation thing works with the Creator is he does not poof things into existence out of midair, out of nothing. He doesn't create anything out of nothing. Everything that he creates using a piece of himself. When he created Mother Nature, his gender counterpart, he took a big hunk of himself. Actually, he has so much that an unlimited supply. So it's not a matter of a diminishing thing with him. However, Mother Nature is a big chunk of him. Everything is a piece of him, down to a one-cell amoeba. Anything with a spirit has a piece of the Creator in it. That's what the Creator is doing. That's his purpose. He is putting himself in all these different things so he can see what it's like for that thing to exist in all kinds of situations. There's no way that he can feel all these different things by being himself. He has to separate himself. He wanted to know what it felt like to hang on a cross. You know, it didn't hurt him because he's spiritual, but he felt the pain in other ways. I don't go as far as saying that we are all God, because in order for us to be like that, we'd have to know a lot more than we know and act a whole lot different than we act. In my studio here today, I was getting set up and I saw a rather juicy Spido. Spido is a word that my niece used to say when she saw a spider. And Uncle Kurt, there's a Spido, you know, and there's Spidos. So anyway, I saw a big Spido. And I felt kind of awful for a second because my first instinct was, okay, it's in the studio. And, you know, what if somebody gets bit? You know, something to that effect. But then, as a spiritualist, and you realize that the spiritual part of that spider is of God. If you destroy that spider without any thought, what you're in fact doing is destroying a little piece of the Creator. Now, how much better would this world be if everybody understood that the closer you want to be like God is you have to understand that everything has God within it. It's really ironic when you find certain preachers who use God to threaten people and say things like, oh, don't worry, if you don't obey this particular book, you're going to go to hell. And hey, I tried to warn you, you'll see. I don't think that preacher understands what spirituality is. He cannot understand that God is within everything, because if he did, he would realize that he just condemned God to hell. Born again Christians, your thing is you are covered by the blood of Jesus and everybody else is not. You believe that everybody is going to hell but you. Well, you are sending so much energy that is of God to hell simply because of your opinion. I mean, they're not really going to go, but you are, in your opinion, sending so much creator energy to hell because of your belief system. I would reject that just for my love of humanity. What do you mean? I get to go to heaven and they don't get to go. That ain't fair. But you have one of your Christians that don't care if it's fair or not. They don't care if they're going and their kids aren't going. So what? They should have listened. Well, listen to what? Anyway, understand that the Creator, all spirits have a piece of the Creator within them. And there are wars, most of the wars in history, if you do your research, you will find that they were fought because of religion. Religion was the foundation of their anger, fighting, representing the God that was here. And when you look at our Bible, the King James Version, that was a Bible that was translated by William Tinsdale from the Greek. Well, the Greeks had several gods in their pantheon. Oh yes, there was Zeus, there was Poseidon, Hades, there was Apollo, there's Hermes. There are a lot of gods in the Greek pantheon, and in the Greek pantheon is where a lot of these Bibles originated. So, what I like to do now is get back to the book series and introduce you to chapter number 44, The Birth of Horus. See you when you get back.
Chapter 44. The Birth of Horus.
It was said that Isis endured a difficult pregnancy with labor that was exceptionally laborious. She had been spending much of her time alone, hiding in the thickets and swamps of the Nile Delta. Many nights she would hear the crumbling of leaves that would indicate the intrusion of strange people, not knowing if friend or foe. Sometime in the later part of August, between the 24th and 28th, a newborn baby child was heard crying as the wind and the occasional dust storm whistled about and would further add to the discomfort for the queen to endure. Isis, the first Homo sapiens sapien, and mother to mankind, would by any means necessary give birth to a baby boy, and grandson of the Anunnaki Marduk, in the so-called Epagamental days, a 4-day festival period in Egypt. The next day 2 newborns were heard crying, and the next day yet another. It seemed that several babies were placed in proximity to further add to the confusion and identity of the newborn. It was also rumored that Isis would exchange her child with another to add to the chance of the king's survival, as the true baby was whisked away and back to the home of Thoth, the confidential grandfather and protector. At the same time 2 to 3 bodyguards would accompany Isis at all times, and other guards would bring blankets for warmth and towels and herbs for cleanliness. This was no place for a queen to bore a child. However, she held the strength of the entire world, and her child would bear the preeminence of a pharaoh, and the epitome of greatness to behold for all mankind. Set had by this time recaptured Nephthys, as she was seen in the palace alone in an attempt to keep Set wondering where the child and mother were hidden. He forced himself upon her, feeling that he too should bear a child for the throne. Anubis was born shortly thereafter, yet Set was still determined to destroy anything living as a result of Osiris. Isis then disguised herself, joining the separation between her eyebrows, and began taking her then 5-year-old child into the city to live among the population, as her son's anonymity would hopefully be sustained. She was even known to appeal to people for charity, though this too was a ploy to maintain his inconspicuousness, while her child and her, whom she named Horus, seemed to be just another ordinary mother and her youth. As a child, Horus knew very little of his lineage nor the true identity of his supereminent mother and father. Not even her true name was beknownst. He called her simply Queen Mother, though believing that queen was just a hope in her delusionary dreams. So important was the life of Horus to the foundation of Egypt that Mother Nature herself decided to intervene. She cast a magical spell, and 7 minor scorpion deities traveled and guarded Isis as she sought help for Horus. One day while Mother Nature was away on business, the gods took revenge on a wealthy woman who had refused to help Isis by stinging the woman's son, making it necessary for Isis to heal the blameless child and chastise the maleficent gods. On several occasions, Horus was bitten by a snake, which was of great fear to the Egyptians. Snake bites and insect bites were often difficult to treat because of their obscure nature and the resulting toxins. Many people believe that these hostile creatures were agents of Set. Isis would use her own magical powers to save her child, or she would plead with or threaten the gods such as Ra or Geb, that they may intervene and cure him. Isis would use Mother Nature's natural cures to appear like magic and heal Horus. She would also extend it and use her efforts to cure all patients in need of such so-called magic. By this time Horus was a teen, and it was once again time to return to Egypt and back into the covenant hands of Thoth, who had in most cases risked his life in an effort to save Osiris. Mostly. Horus would then be taken into the hands of some of the most skilled warriors in Egypt. They would fashion a rigorous and exhaustive itinerary designed to create the greatest of all warriors, setting Horus, the grandson of Marduk and son of Osiris and Isis, on a path to lead Egypt into the next dynastic period of the ancient realm, and on course to unify all of Egypt.
Subscribe and push the like button.
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that. We're moving right along here, and pretty soon we're going to get our Zoom series going, because it's about time we start having some guests around here. A little bit of, not debate really, because I'm not going to be debating too much, but just exchanges of information. I in fact have a friend. One of my best friends is a biblicist. He's a doctor in theology, and the difference between a doctor in theology and your average preacher is that they've gone to the seminary, and in the seminary it's not about learning your religion that you love so much. You have to learn them all. And you have to write a thesis on the one that you select. So you have to learn about Buddhism and Islam and all of these and understand how they truly originated. If you haven't been to a seminary, then you might not be able to discuss a lot of this stuff the way I will, because you're not going to know what I'm talking about. Because what he told me, that everything in my book is in the Bible somewhere and in the seminary school. So they made sure they teach all of this stuff, and what I'm teaching right now is not new. In fact, it is hundreds of thousands of years old. AI is doing an amazing job of reading these tablets. The tablets are written in a language called cuneiform, which is not really just one specific language. They have the ability back then to take tribes with 3 different languages and make symbols that would represent all 3. It's so sophisticated. It's one of the hardest languages you could ever learn. But you can go online now and learn how to speak ancient Sumerian, in cuneiform, and the mathematics therein, and their advanced ways of calculating. So on these tablets is where I'm getting the bulk of the information that I have about the creation of mankind, because on these tablets is where they told a whole creation story. And the magnificent thing about it was, like my issues I had with the Bible in reference to half of the scriptures. The stories I could not reconcile. I couldn't reconcile the curse of Ham, Abraham's son, and why black people are slaves now because of it. And then I also heard a person telling me that black people were slaves because we are under the curse of Eve when she ate the apple. The creator of the universe is beyond intelligent or smart, or there aren't even words that can describe what the creator of the universe is. It is all things except one thing. It's all things except one thing. And that one thing, he is not stupid. Not stupid. Nor does he do stupid things. Nor does he tell stupid stories. And to be perfectly honest, the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, it lacks the, it's beneath the conception of the creation, of the creator of God. First of all, you have Yahweh, who couldn't find Adam and Eve, had to go looking. The creator of the universe knows where everything is at all times. And then Yahweh had to ask Adam and Eve, why are you wearing this? And they had to explain to him what happened. That lets you know what Yahweh was. They created mankind in their own image, and they were humanoid. The Garden of Eden story proves that. Yahweh looking for Adam and Eve in the garden. They're hiding because their brother Enki told them to hide from my brother, he's coming. And all of a sudden they come out and he asks them why. And so basically they come up with this thing where a snake. Why a snake? Why a snake? It's just they had to pick something, I guess. But I think they should have picked something that could talk. You know, at least you don't have to keep saying the whole thing about how God moves in mysterious ways, for instance. You will understand that if it was it couldn't be a parrot. Parrots can talk. At least they have the vocal ability to do so. I don't know if they know exactly what they're saying, but I don't think a snake is worthy of the most important sin in history. So what I'm telling you is that you have to use all of your brain and some of a brain from somebody else to even conceptualize the creator of the universe. If the story is beneath consideration, then basically that is not of God. There are many stories in the Bible that cannot be of the creator. The creator is omnipotent. Well, that means he's everywhere. The creator is within all of us. You know, so if you take all these things into consideration, they will define what the creator is. Religion doesn't know the difference between the biblical gods and the creator of the universe. In fact, just to think, it is written, all of the different kind of versions of Bibles and scriptures they've had, and all the people who had something to do with infusing information or taking information out. But you still have a lot of church folks that say that it is the Word of God. It has been manipulated with every culture since the beginning of time, and always to serve the benefit of whatever culture is in power at that particular time. But they insist because a minister told them that this is the Word of God. Well, we need to look back at a simple adage like, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, and it has feathers like a duck and a beak like a duck, it's probably a duck. So a snake is not worthy of being considered to be in a position to influence all of mankind, nor is Eve or Adam, if they did make a mistake and ate something, they were probably hungry. And since they were so new to the world, what did they know? We eat stuff now and don't know what's in it. So, you're going to blame Eve for eating the wrong thing because the snake told her to. If you were starving, you probably would have ate the snake. So anyway, then you would have got bitten. It would have been a whole nother little story. But anyway, we're getting somewhere. I don't know if anybody is going to accept what I'm saying or not, but I just know that I have to say it. As a spiritualist, you began by hearing a recognizable voice. And once you realize that voice is yours, you begin to trust it. And once it starts to tell you to do good things, you'll be able to understand the benevolence of it all. Now, we just had a mass killings in the state of Maine, and they said that the guy was hearing voices, and that's a red flag. Be careful what those voices are telling you. If you cannot understand the difference between right and wrong, then you shouldn't be listening to anything. You should just go on a camping trip and stay out there if you cannot differentiate between right and wrong. Right things, good things, godly things come from godly things. Ungodly things come from ungodly things. So, in the beginning, as we began, and I start to teach you how to develop your connection with your spirit, it first comes in as a voice or a feeling. The most difficult thing is differentiating that from your imagination. That can get a little difficult because where our imaginations can go anywhere. So once you get that, I'm at the point now, a year ago, a short time ago, I would lose something, I would have to ask my spirit to help me find it, and it would. I'm at the point now that I will run into the thing that I haven't even lost yet. I will lose something and not even be looking for it, and all of a sudden my hand would go, and there it is, when I'm not even looking. So when you get to that point, you are totally connected to your spirit. Yeah, you're totally connected to your spirit. And once you give your permission to your spirit to lead the way for you, then that's when the magic will really begin to happen. Right now, your meditations could take a while. Some people spend, a lot of time meditating. Well, I don't have to. I can do the whole thing in one breath. I can run all my chakras down the grounding core. I'm done. Or I can just put myself in a meditation state and stay like that all day long. I can be constantly in one, or I can do it so many different ways because I can feel the benefits. Once the whole thing is designed to make you connect. Once you connect, then all you need to do is simply you're already there. You won't have to meditate as much as soon as you make this connection. This is what we're here for. We want to raise the level of spirituality in humans and in all people, so we can stop war. We won't. If we understand that God is in everybody, because what we're doing now is just purely selfish. We're acting like we're above it, and you are not. If you feel that what you're doing is better than somebody else, well, then that's when you have to realize that there's something wrong, because you should feel like if you did see something that was less fortunate than you, then you would want to help that something. If you did think you were going to heaven, then you would want to believe and understand that you want all people. And I don't mean if under certain conditions, if they have to drink the same Kool-Aid that you drink, or go to the same place, or have the same opinions, because thoughts and brain waves are exactly what they are, thoughts, and all people are going to have different thoughts. Nobody's going to think the same, but your spirit that is connected to God, his whole purpose is to try to coordinate you and your thoughts and help navigate that through a system, through a world, so that it elevates your spirituality. Understand, the Creator is experiencing life through you. the way you act is basically, you don't have to worry about judgment because he's already saying, wow, this is rough. You might have to come back and try that again under a different circumstance because, you know. So thank you for being here. You know, don't forget to push the like button, and we're getting better. We're getting better. So thank you guys for coming, and I love everybody, and I'll see you the next time.